History is filled with myths, misinterpretations, and outright lies, some of which have persisted for centuries. Many of these distortions arise from political agendas, cultural bias, or the simple passage of time. Here are some of the biggest and most enduring lies or misconceptions in history. 1. Napoleon was short. The lie: Napoleon Bonaparte was famously short. The truth: Napoleon was around 5 feet 6 inches to 5 feet 7 inches, 1.68 meters, which was average for French men of his time. The myth likely arose due to differences in French and English measurements, and from British propaganda that sought to belittle him. 2. Christopher Columbus discovered America. The lie: Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492. The truth: indigenous peoples had been living in the Americas for thousands of years before Columbus arrived. Additionally, Norse explorer Leif Erikson had already reached parts of North America around 500 years earlier. The pyramids were built by slaves. The lie: the Great Pyramids of Egypt were built by thousands of slaves. The truth: archaeological evidence suggests that the workers who built the pyramids were skilled laborers, not slaves. These workers lived in nearby communities, were well-fed, and took pride in their work. The earth was widely believed to be flat before Columbus. The lie: most people in the Middle Ages believed the earth was flat, and Columbus proved it was round. The truth: educated people had known the earth was round since ancient Greece. Columbus didn't prove the earth was round. He underestimated the earth's circumference and didn't know the Americas existed. The Trojan Horse. Myth. The lie: the Greeks won the Trojan War by hiding inside a wooden horse, which the Trojans brought into their city. The truth: while the tale of the Trojan Horse is one of the most famous stories from ancient mythology, thanks to Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, there is no direct historical evidence that this event occurred as described. It could be entirely mythical or a later embellishment of real events. 6. Marie Antoinette said, "Let them eat cake." The lie: when told that the people were starving, Queen Marie Antoinette famously responded, "Let them eat cake." The truth: there is no historical evidence that Marie Antoinette ever said this. The phrase was likely propaganda spread by revolutionaries to portray her as out of touch with the people. It had been attributed to other figures before her. 7. The Emancipation Proclamation freed all slaves in the U.S. The lie: Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation immediately freed all enslaved people in the United States. The truth: the Emancipation Proclamation, issued in 1863, only applied to Confederate states where the Union had no control, meaning that it didn't immediately free any slaves. It was more of a symbolic gesture and strategic move in the Civil War. Slavery wasn't fully abolished in the U.S. until the 13th Amendment in 1865. 8. The Spanish Inquisition was unprecedentedly cruel. The lie: the Spanish Inquisition was an unparalleled reign of terror with mass torture and burnings of heretics. The truth: while the Inquisition was brutal, its cruelty has been exaggerated, particularly by Protestant and Enlightenment critics of Spain. The actual number of people executed was far lower than popular accounts suggest, though it was still a dark chapter in history. 9. Hitler won the election and took over Germany. Democratically. The lie: Adolf Hitler was elected to power democratically by the German people. The truth: Hitler never won a majority vote in any democratic election. The Nazi Party did well in elections in the early 1930s, but never achieved more than 37% of the vote. Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany in 1933 through political backroom deals, and after the Reichstag fire, he manipulated the system to consolidate dictatorial power. 10. The Salem witch trials burned witches at the stake. The lie. The accused witches in Salem, Massachusetts, were burned at the stake. The truth. None of the witches were burned. Instead, the 19 people who were executed were hanged, and one man was crushed to death by stones. 11. Einstein failed math as a child. The lie. Albert Einstein, the genius physicist, failed math as a child. The truth. This is a complete myth. Einstein was actually a brilliant student, excelling in both math and science from a young age. 12. The Middle Ages were the Dark Ages. The lie. The Middle Ages, also known as the Dark Ages, were a period of intellectual darkness and stagnation. The truth. While there were certainly challenges, especially after the fall of the Roman Empire, the Middle Ages were not a time of complete ignorance. Many advancements in science, philosophy, and art took place during this period, particularly in the Islamic world and later during the Renaissance. 13. The Romans always fought as professional soldiers. The lie. The Roman legions were always made up of highly disciplined professional soldiers. The truth. While Roman legions were well trained, especially during the height of the empire, early Roman armies were often made up of part-time soldiers who were also farmers and citizens. It wasn't until later in Roman history that a professional standing army became the norm. 14. Mahatma Gandhi was a saint-like figure. The lie. Mahatma Gandhi was a flawless figure who was universally loved and led India to independence through pure pacifism. The truth. While Gandhi was a key figure in India's independence movement and espoused non-violence, his personal life and views were more complex and controversial. He had controversial opinions on race, and his treatment of women and his family has been critiqued. His tactics also included political pragmatism, not just idealism. 15. Rome fell in a single day. The lie. The Roman Empire fell in 476 AD in a sudden collapse. The truth. The decline of the Roman Empire was a long, drawn-out process over several centuries, characterized by invasions, internal strife, economic problems, and administrative decline. The Western Roman Empire fell in 476 AD, but the Eastern Roman Empire, or Byzantine Empire, continued for nearly 1,000 more years until 1453 AD. The trains run on time. The lie. Benito Mussolini, the fascist dictator of Italy, is often credited with making the trains run on time, symbolizing efficiency. The truth. This claim is largely exaggerated. While there were improvements in Italian railways under Mussolini, the punctuality of trains was already improving before his regime, and the idea that he single-handedly made the system more efficient is largely propaganda. These historical lies and misconceptions often serve as cautionary tales about the importance of critically evaluating sources and understanding the complexities of history. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in next video.